So almost everything on this channel that we've sort of gone through so far has dealt with some type of physical activity and ensuring that we're getting older and stronger. And this video, I'm going to do a little bit of a change in direction. Same mantra, but we're going to apply it to something a little different, your memory. And you know, most exercise and cognition type research runs really 6 to 12 weeks in duration. Even when we looked at the 137 study synthesis that was done by the American College of Sports Medicine back in 2026, leaned on, you know, that's in blog post 11, leans heavily on, we'll say, short trials. You know, this study that we're going to talk is interesting because, you know, long studies are expensive, they're slow, and really hard to sort of keep participants, you know, over a long period of time. So this study was done by the University of Molise in Italy. It's the physical education the physical exercise for prevention of dementia study that was done with 882 folks over the age of 50. They split those folks into three groups. One group was really no impairment at all cognitively. Another group, we'll say, had subjective impairment, and then a third group had mild cognitive impairment. And then roughly half of each group was randomized to structured an exercise program. And the rest of the group was just sort of usual care. And at the end of the 4 years, 674 folks completed the full 4 years, which is sort of a great retention rate for a trial. You know, that's that long. So if you looked at the healthy group, that had 316 folks in it. That was the largest group. The difference was clear there. Cognitive scores held essentially across the 4 years for the folks that exercised. The control group within that group declined significantly over the same period. You know, on detailed verbal memory tests, the exercise group, the folks that were exercising 3 times a week, their recall improved roughly 5.5 points more than the group that had, you know, no exercise protocol. And the group that had already sort of subjectively noticed, we'll say, some early signs of cognitive decline, that was roughly 265 people. The pattern repeated, but was weakened. Okay, that the signal was weakened there. You know, the top line comparison only approached, we'll say, the conventional significance threshold. And this is a trend sort of in we'll say the same direction, but not really proof. Okay. And then in the smallest group, only 93 of the folks sort of completed that. And this was the group that had mild sort of cognitive impairment, and the results were mixed here. This doesn't mean that the group with mild impairment that were exercising, that it stopped working. It's just sort of in this particular trial with only 93 people split across the 2 groups. Excuse me. They didn't have sort of the statistical, we'll call it, power to detect an effect, even if one did exist. So, you know, lines, we'll say those 3, you know, results up, and a pattern, you know, emerges. The strength, and we'll say the strength of the effect seems to track how early someone starts relative to when sort of cognitive changes sort of set in. So that was clear, right? You start early, make sure you're exercising, you know, regularly 3 times a week. We've got plenty of videos that discuss the benefits of that. And it will definitely give you an added benefit of maintaining your cognitive function. And there was sort of another study that sort of says, this was done in, I think, 2011 by Erickson, and it was a sort of a mechanistic study that showed, it was only 1 year, but they tracked older folks that walked regularly and folks that did not, and then tracked their hippocampus, which is sort of related to your memory function in your brain. And they showed the folks that were walking regularly, actually had about a 2% gain in neurons in their hippocampus, which isn't insignificant relative to the people that were sedentary, not walking. They just had sort of reduction in that area. So that's just sort of a corollary that shows that physical activity can result in some changes that are positive for folks as they age. The protocol that was utilized as far as for the groups that were exercising, it was an exotic program. It was basically 1 hour, 3 sessions per week, broken up into a warm-up, 5 to 10 minute warm-up, 15 to 20 minutes of aerobic activity. That could be treadmill, bike work, so forth. 25 minutes of resistance training for major muscle groups. You could start off with body weight and progress to light dumbbells, and then they closed with about a 10-minute stretching activity. An effort was increased, obviously, as your fitness improved, in that particular, and it was, all structured, done well. And this actually, the program itself mirrors blog post 16, that 12-week starter protocol. Now, obviously, the starter protocol was only 12 weeks. This was something consistent over years. But it's the starter protocol can certainly help you build towards that and get the benefit, the cognitive benefit of the exercise. But a few sort of, let's just say, sort of honest limits to this that are worth sort of noting. This was a single blind study where participants knew each other, and everyone here was sort of self-selected volunteer, healthy enough to commit to a demanding program for 4 years. Not necessarily representative of every viewer. And the mechanism explanation for 2 separate studies rather than one study proving full chain, I just put those 2 together. So this certainly is not a cure for dementia. Not an advertisement saying exercise will cure dementia, but it does show that exercise consistently as you age, especially 50 and older, and if you don't have any cognitive impairments or anything, it will help you maintain that cognitive ability as you age. And that's a certain aspect of the overall system, the UCAN system, right? We talk about pillar A, alignment of mind and body. That's important, right? So this is just one study. It was over a long period. I thought it was worth sort of going through, some of the positive aspects of exercise, and your ability to function cognitively and physically, both. So that's important. It'll be in blog post 17 up at the website, gettingolderandstronger.com. I'll give you the exact citation for folks that want to delve into that a little bit more. But I thought it was a worthwhile study. Subscribe and follow. We'll get more peer-reviewed research out, help everybody close that health span, lifespan gap, and make sure we're getting older and stronger and aging well together.